with that being said, in my own personal experience, I think that playing against lower rated players, as long as you do what I just talked about, that way you don't develop bad habits. Playing against players like that can be a really incredible experience to kind of develop your skill. You know, I was listening to this guy, Firas Zahabi once, and he's a professional trainer of UFC fighters, like the best. I forget. I should look up who he trains exactly, but he trains like top level UFC fighters. And what he was saying is that whenever he spars or he has his guys spar, he doesn't want them playing against black belts the entire time. He has them spar with purple belts, and the reason why is because you don't want to be going at full speed at you don't want to be yeah you don't want to be being shut down at the highest level at all times. Sometimes you need to play against an opponent that's lower level than you, so that you have time and space, and you can think quicker, you can kind of be creative and try out different things that might not actually work, but it's going to develop these fundamental skills that you can build upon that are going to be a huge advantage against higher level players. Because as you do what I just said and you analyze your gameplay and you look back at the things that you're doing, there's some things that you're gonna be able to develop playing pickup or against lower rated players that are gonna be able to work at all levels. That there's just like, yeah, they're doing that what you just did right then, there's nothing that you can do to stop that. That's what you want to be able to find, and having the time and the space playing at a lower level grants you that ability. So if you're able to find pickup, don't spend all your time playing at the highest level. You know, that's another lesson right there. Don't spend all your time trying to find the most difficult opponents. Like sometimes sometimes it's, it's a good thing to play against people that you're way better than. But to a certain extent, you could go too far down that path where it's just not fun anymore. Just pay attention to how fun it is, really. Like the level of passion and the creativity and flow that you enter into. If you find that playing against somebody who's lower level than you, then I'm telling you, the amount of development, like the amount that you're developing, can all reveal itself to you, and the amount of creativity that you're feeling, or the amount of joy, the amount of passion, the amount of like how much flow that you tap into. That's the key to flow state, according to this one dude who wrote the book called The Flow. He talks about you want to create that balance between difficulty and your skill level and find a good balance there. And what I would personally say is stay within what makes you flow, what puts you in flow. Too far is where your skill level is way too far beyond it, and you just like you can't do anything, and it's just like you never touch the ball and you're just screwed. Like that's just not fun. You're not going to really gain much from that, besides looking back at it and seeing all the places where you're being taken advantage of. But you can't spend a lot of time there, because you can still play against a difficult opponent and be exposed in all these different ways and find things that you need to work on, but still have it within the flow range. Am I making sense? Is that making sense? And too far on the other end of the scale is where it's just like way too easy. It's like your mind just kind of turns off. Like you don't have to think or try at all, and it's just like there's nothing that you can do to find any sort of creativity or find any skill to work on or develop. Because you can take really easy players, and if there's some way that you're able to creatively find something to do against them, like maybe you try not to even score. Like sometimes I do that in Rocket League. If I'm completely destroying somebody, then I won't even try to score anymore, and I'll just try to see if I can keep the ball away from them for as long as possible. Find little games that you can do against these easier players, or if you're playing against people who are just way better than you. You find an environment like that, then maybe you can find one little thing that you can work on that you just see and notice, like, oh, this opportunity shows up a lot, I'm just going to work on this right here. Make the goal smaller. Don't make the goal to win if you can't really do that. So those are kind of the ways that you can tweak, because then what you're doing is you're changing the goal, so you're shifting the challenge. Does that make sense? Because it's how challenging is it, and skill level puts you in a certain state of flow. And so if you're able to adjust the challenging part of it by making not the goal to score, but to You know, see how long you can dribble against him, or to try to be a good defender against him, or try to stop that one shot that he's doing against you. Then, you know, you can do stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I learned today. Yeah, there's gonna be cool little videos that I make. I don't know, like, it's just training, you know, it's just skill development. It's art. It's skill development, you know, skill development stuff. You know, I don't know where I'm gonna put this. Like, maybe I'll make a new YouTube channel. I don't know. Okay, so this is the whole idea. Yo, one of the things I love doing is playing soccer, playing Rocket League, playing basketball, and doing stuff like that, you know? Even dancing, even singing. They're kind of like artistic little things, you know? And one of the things that I want to do is just continue to do them. And I'm not sure where this is going to lead yet, but I love the idea of just making little videos of just stuff that I learned and sharing with the world with the hopes that it impacts somebody and that it helps them out in some way. So the idea that was coming to me today is it's for athletes, and maybe this somehow translates to any other art form, but I was playing Rocket League just now, and I was playing against an opponent that I could tell that just isn't at my level, to be honest. And, you know, one of the things I was thinking about is, like, there's a lot of things that I was doing against him that was working and going really well. And the thing about playing pickup, like basketball, pickup soccer with people who are like not at the high competitive level that you usually compete against, or at your like a lower rank in some sort of game, you're playing against when you're playing against opponents who are not as good as you, it's really important to look back and reflect on those moments, on the things that you did that worked, and see if you can tell if you were that defender, if you would have been able to stop yourself. So if somehow you're able to record yourself playing sports, or you're able to go back in the replay of a game that you played, then analyze it from your opponent's perspective and see if you defending yourself would have been able to stop yourself. Because that's going to help you if you're wanting to utilize pickup or playing at these lower ranks, which is extremely helpful. And maybe I could talk about that for a sec. If you want to be able to utilize those to their fullest potential, a pitfall that you could fall into is you start developing all these habits that work against these lower level players. But as you start to play at a higher competitive level, then it's not going to work anymore, and you're just instantly going to get shut down. So it's really important to notice that and to be aware of that. And yeah, one of the ways you can do that is just to watch back your replays or to watch film tape of yourself, and then you can start to learn that kind of thing.